Welcome to Project Pack 3, Part 5. I'm Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and today we're putting some tangles in these ribbon shapes. And for this first one, I am going to do toodles, which isn't really a border tangle, but it worked really well. It kind of smushed in here really nicely.
And I think it's fun to take a tangle that would not normally be a border tangle and experiment with it. And it's notice that Maria is doing all of one part of the various toodles along the ribbon, and then she'll go back and do the rest of them. So looks like she decided that this ribbon would go over the one underneath it there.
So I love working on the ribbons like this because it forces you to do things with the tangle that you wouldn't ordinarily do. It forces me to give more character to the tangle as opposed to no limits. So we talk often about the elegance of limits and how limits can actually make you more creative instead of less creative. So you can see here now when I start putting that second step in, I have to kind of swirl them in a way that I wouldn't have done, and so I kind of like that. It gives it an unexpected life. That's just really cool.
Yeah, this fits in really well. And you can also, just push the edge of that pencil ribbon a little bit. So this may be one of those ribbons that is not perfectly straight, but
Oh, I
there's
don't
this,
buy those kind of ribbons. So
right?
yeah. These
Exactly.
ribbons
So,
are a little probably seconds. That's it. I like that. So the leaf shapes are getting really interesting. And they're
and
kind of facing in opposite directions. You
yeah,
can see.
and I like how the base doesn't meet in the same place, and that's very common on leaves. If you look at, like an elm leaf or different leaves, they don't meet at exactly the same place on the stem,
So you can see how they're sort of like dancing like a rumba. Doesn't that
right?
it
Back
looks
and
like it?
forth.
Yeah. And I love that feeling of the dance here. So what I'm doing now is sort of connecting them together, and then we're going to fill that little area in with a striping of sorts, but not a bold striping, but just
More like an aura-ing.
aura-ing over and over to give it like a little stripy pinstripe look, and that will make the leaves pop out a little more too, or delineate them a little bit
Yeah,
more. Huh?
you'll see that in just a sec. But it also ties it together and making it a border-esque.
Right.
So by doing that on either side of the stem, it really pushes the stem out by contrast there. I guess you could do it all black, but then it would contrast with that really nice black internal part of the toodles. So this is really neat.
Take your time when you're doing this, and this is a great alternative to filling in sometimes when you either don't have enough time or you just want to do something a little differently. Um, you could do it like this with these little pinstripes, or you could do it with tipple.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to put tipple in, a small tipple would be good for a background, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. But this is that magic of aura. Once you put down one line, you can just follow that and put the next until that space is filled.
Now, I'm not turning this upside down and around because the piece is so big that I thought maybe you guys would get a little bit of a tummy ache watching it spin. So I've made an effort to do everything sort of just the way it is. But please feel free to turn your tiles around, especially on this big one like this. And now I'm going around and doing like an all over around aura that sort of ties the whole thing together. It holds it from falling apart. I kind of like that.
And I also like how when you hit that, aura'd part, the outer aura maintains a similar distance, so it just sort of becomes totally part of that.
So if you looked at ribbon, and I've looked at a lot of ribbon in my life because my mom used to own a fabric store, and I used to study the ribbons and draw them and everything, and almost all of them have this aura on the edges that it's sort of like a hemming of some sort, like an edging.
Really fun. So there's 3 different colors there. You've got the open space, you have the aura'd shading, if you will, almost, and
Just like a shade of gray, yeah?
like a shade of gray, and then the black
The black is
internal
black,
part, it
yeah.
really pops out.
All with the same pen. How fun is that? How pretty.
So there's the first ribbon on this particular piece, and we'll now go to the next one, which is part 6, and see what happens next. So
Bye.
bye for now.